Wow, all right. Boy, Don, do you have a job here to follow Nikki? I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Don Swanson. He is responsible, he and his group, Freedom Works, for putting on this fantastic program today. We are very proud. Here you go, Don.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful day in the mountains, is it not? I need to thank the people who preceded me and the person who's going to succeed me. These speeches have been marvelous. Nikki's singing has been inspiring. And thank you very much for what you've done. Briefly, I'm going to explain to you just real quickly what Freedom Works is and what we do. We try and help people understand how the government affects their lives. We work to keep taxes low and to keep the government as small as possible. If we accomplish these two things, citizens like you and me will have more freedom to live our lives as we choose to, not the way the government dictates. We encourage you to take action to keep the potential oncoming tax increases from ruining your lives, the lives of your children, and the lives of their children. There are ladies among you, and there's a table up at the end of this walk where we have information packets. It tells you a little about Freedom Works, but more importantly, it gives you contact information for local newspapers and your elected representatives. Write letters to the editors saying how you feel about what's going on. Politicians have staff people that read papers and tell their bosses what people are thinking. Call the offices of your representatives and tell them what you think. They react to these calls. They're very effective. Whatever you do, do not leave this place and do nothing. We've done that long enough. The future of your country has been taken away, and if we don't help stop it, who will? It's up to us to have our voices heard, and the time is now. And incidentally, there will be a fracas on the 4th of July that you will not believe in this term. Thank you for coming, and now it's my pleasure to introduce a good man and a great American, Phil Drake.
Thank you very much. I'm going to try to get us back on schedule here. First of all, I want to say that there is a place for government in the United States. There is. The primary role of the federal government should be defense. How about those Navy SEALs that took out the pirates? I want to say, first of all, that the real tax rate in America is not what the government collects today. The real tax rate in America is what the government spends today. Because sooner or later, if they spend it today, they must take it out of your pocket. There's only two ways to take it out of your pocket. One is to increase taxes on you and your children. The other way is to print more money, which will make the money that you have worth less. Both of those ways are unacceptable. You cannot legislate the poor into prosperity. You cannot borrow your way out of debt. Let me put this bailout in, I think I can summarize it in one sentence for you. If you take the resources from successful companies and reward those that are poorly managed, that's a picture of our bailout, and that's unacceptable. Our tax code currently has 74,000 pages. No one can grasp that. The thing that puts it out of whack is that 50% of people in the United States pay 97% of the tax. The other 50% pay 3% of the tax. That's out of whack. In fact, the top 4% of taxpayers pay 50% altogether. The top 50% pay 97%. Our federal deficit today is $11 trillion. And last month, just the month of March, it increased almost $200 billion. It set a record, $192 billion, how much the deficit increased in 1 month. We have to stop this. Now, there's several ways that we got here. One of the ways that we got here is demanding things today that we weren't willing to pay for today. That has to stop. The other way we got here is when we passed the laws for abortion in 1972. What happened is we have killed 30 million people who could work today and pay into the Social Security Administration. Those 30 million are not here. And so that impacts our, especially the Social Security. The $11 trillion debt does not include what we have borrowed from Social Security. If you include how much we borrowed from Social Security, it's even higher. Some people today even have a negative tax bracket. In fact, the top 3 things that the government spends money on today are defense, which is appropriate. Interest payments is number 3. But do you know what the number 1 thing that government spends money on today? The redistribution of wealth. That is the number 1 expenditure for the federal government today, the redistribution of wealth. There is only one way out of this, and that is to stop spending dollars. I want to leave you with this quote from Dr. Adrian Rogers. When half of the people get the idea that they don't have to work because the other half's going to take care of them, and when the other half get the idea it does no good to work because somebody's going to get what they work for, that, dear friend, is the end of any nation. We have to stop that. Thank you very much. God bless America.